You can stand in the back, sweetie. We needed that seat for someone who actually matters. My brother's fiancé said this to me at his wedding, while I stood there in my bridesmaid dress, holding the bouquet I'd just caught during photos, staring at my name card being handed to his ex-girlfriend. I'm 24 years old. I helped raise him when our parents died. I worked 2 jobs to help pay for his college. And now I'm watching Rachel, his ex from 5 years ago, sit in my assigned seat at the family table while his new wife, Melissa, smiles like she just won something. There must be a mistake, I said, my voice shaking. No mistake. Melissa's smile didn't reach her eyes. Rachel and I are close now. She's practically family. You understand, right? I looked at my brother, Kyle. He wouldn't meet my eyes. He just adjusted his tie and mumbled something about keeping the peace, and it's just one seat. Just one seat. The seat that represented everything I'd sacrificed for him. The guests were starting to notice. Whispers rippled through the venue. Aunt Marie covered her mouth. My best friend Emma stood up from her table, fury in her eyes, but I shook my head at her. I smiled. Of course. I understand perfectly. But what they didn't know was that I still had my maid of honor speech in my purse. And I was absolutely going to give it. I found myself standing near the bathroom hallway, away from the elegant reception hall with its crystal chandeliers and white roses. My hands were trembling. I could hear the DJ announcing dinner service, the clinking of glasses, the laughter of 200 guests who had no idea what just happened. Emma found me first. Are you kidding me right now? We're leaving. Get your coat. I'm not leaving, I whispered. Then I'm going to punch that bride in her fake smiling face. I grabbed her arm. Don't. I have a better idea. Through the doorway, I could see Rachel leaning over, whispering something to Kyle. She touched his shoulder, possessive, familiar. Melissa sat on his other side, looking triumphant. They looked like some twisted trio, and I was the disposable one. A waiter offered me champagne. I took 2 glasses. You're going to need to trust me, I said to Emma. When they call me up for the speech, no matter what happens, don't interfere. What are you planning? I pulled the folded papers from my purse, my original speech, the one I'd spent weeks writing, the one filled with beautiful memories and tears and love. I'm going to tell the truth. Emma's eyes went wide. All of it? Every single word. The microphone was going to be my weapon, and the truth was going to be my ammunition. I walked back into the reception hall with my head high, both champagne glasses in hand. I found a small table in the corner, the kids' table, ironically, and sat down between a flower girl and a ring bearer who were more interested in their iPads than the drama. From here, I had a perfect view of the family table, of my empty seat, of the 3 of them laughing together like old friends. Just wait, I thought. Just wait until dessert. Melissa was everything I wasn't. Polished, confident, from a wealthy family that never knew what it meant to struggle. She worked in her father's marketing firm, drove a BMW her parents bought her, and had never spent a single day worrying about rent or groceries. I met her 6 months ago when Kyle brought her home for the first time. She looked around our modest apartment, the one I still paid half the rent on even though Kyle barely stayed there anymore, and I saw her nose wrinkle slightly. This is cozy, she'd said, which is rich person code for small and disappointing. But I tried. God, I tried to like her. I took her to lunch, asked about her interests, complimented her style. I wanted my brother to be happy. Then came the engagement party 3 months ago. That's when I first saw the real Melissa. Kyle tells me you never went to college, she said loudly in front of her entire family. That must be so hard watching him succeed. I'd smiled through it. Someone had to work so he could go. Her mother, Patricia, had laughed, this sharp, cruel sound. How noble. Like a little martyr. Kyle said nothing. Just like tonight, he said nothing. Now I watched as Melissa fed Kyle a bite of dinner, her engagement ring catching the light. That ring cost more than I made in 6 months. I knew because Kyle had asked me to lend him $2,000 toward it, promised he'd pay me back. He never did. She's a snake, the flower girl next to me suddenly said. I looked down at her, surprised. She was maybe 7 years old, with dark curls and serious eyes. What? The bride. She's mean. She made my mommy cry earlier because her dress wasn't expensive enough. I felt something crack in my chest. Even the children could see it. What's your name? I asked softly. Sophie. I'm the groom's cousin. She tilted her head. You're his sister, right? The one he always talks about? He talks about me? Used to? Before he met her. Those 3 words told me everything. Before he met her. Before Melissa came in like a hurricane and rearranged his entire life, his priorities, his loyalty, the best man stood up for his speech. Chad, Kyle's college roommate, someone who'd known him for 4 years compared to my 24 years of being his sister, his guardian, his everything. Chad's speech was exactly what you'd expect. Stories about fraternity parties, road trips. That time Kyle beat everyone at beer pong. Shallow memories that sparkled but had no weight. Everyone laughed and clapped. Then Melissa's maid of honor spoke. Her sorority sister, Brittany, who talked about how perfect Melissa was, how she deserved the world, how Kyle was so lucky to have her. Not once did Brittany mention me. Not once did she acknowledge that there was a sister who helped make Kyle into the man standing there in that tuxedo. I felt invisible. And now, the DJ announced, we'll hear from the groom's sister and maid of honor, Sarah. My name echoed through the speakers. 200 faces turned toward me. I stood up slowly, smoothing down my bridesmaid dress. The one I'd had to buy myself, of course, while Melissa's bridesmaids got theirs paid for. Emma gave me a nod from across the room. Sophie squeezed my hand quickly before I walked away. My heels clicked against the marble floor as I made my way to the microphone. I could feel Melissa's eyes boring into me, could see Kyle shifting uncomfortably in his seat, could sense Rachel leaning forward with interest. I reached the small stage, took the microphone. The room fell silent. Hi, everyone, I began, my voice steady. I'm Sarah, Kyle's sister. I paused, looking directly at the family table. Well, I was supposed to be sitting at that table, but plans change, don't they? A nervous laugh rippled through the crowd. Melissa's smile froze. Kyle's face went pale. I want to tell you all a story about family, about sacrifice, and about what really matters. I pulled out my speech, but not the one they expected. This isn't the speech I wrote 3 weeks ago, I said quietly into the microphone. That one was beautiful, full of love and hope and memories, but something happened tonight that made me realize I needed to tell a different story. Melissa started to stand. Her father put a hand on her shoulder, curious now. The story of what it really cost to get Kyle to this moment. I was 16 when our parents died in a car accident. Kyle was 11. Does anyone here know what it's like to become a mother overnight when you're still a child yourself? The room was completely silent now. I could hear my own heartbeat through the microphone. Our aunt offered to take Kyle, but she lived in a tiny apartment 3 states away. She could only take one of us. So I made a choice. I got emancipated. I worked at a diner during the day and cleaned offices at night. I made sure Kyle stayed in his school, kept his friends, had some kind of normal life. I saw Aunt Marie crying at her table. She'd wanted to help more but couldn't. She knew this story. Most of these people didn't. When Kyle got accepted to State University, I was so proud. But we didn't have money for tuition. So I picked up a 3rd job. I worked 70-hour weeks for 4 years. I wore the same 3 outfits on rotation. I ate ramen for dinner most nights so Kyle could have real meals when he came home on breaks. Kyle's head was down now. His hands covered his face. I missed my own college opportunities. I missed birthdays, friendships, relationships. I missed being young because I was too busy making sure my little brother could be young. Rachel shifted uncomfortably in my seat. Good. And you know what? I'd do it again, because that's what family does. That's what love looks like when it's real. I looked directly at Melissa now. But tonight I learned something interesting. Tonight I learned that family is disposable. That sacrifice means nothing. That you can be erased for someone's ex-girlfriend because the bride thinks it's funny. Sarah, please. Kyle's voice cracked as he stood up. Did you know, I continued, my voice rising, that your beautiful wife told me I could stand in the back because I don't matter? Gasps erupted throughout the room. Patricia's face went red. Melissa's went white. Those were her exact words. Someone who actually matters. That's what she said about me while wearing a ring my brother bought with money I lent him. Money he never paid back, by the way. The silence that followed was deafening. Melissa shot to her feet. This is my wedding. You're ruining everything because you're jealous. Jealous? I laughed and it echoed through the speakers. Of what exactly? Of me. Of Kyle choosing me over you. You've always been too clingy, too controlling. Kyle told me how suffocating you were, always reminding him of what you did for him, making him feel guilty. That's not true, Kyle shouted, but his voice was weak. I turned to him slowly. Isn't it? Is that really what you told her, Kyle? That I made you feel guilty? He opened his mouth, but nothing came out. The silence was his answer. Something inside me shattered. After everything, after raising him, sacrificing everything, loving him unconditionally, this is what he'd said about me behind my back. Wow. My voice was barely a whisper, but the microphone caught it. Okay. An older man stood up from a table near the back. I didn't recognize him at first. Silver hair, expensive suit, the kind of presence that commands attention. He walked toward the family table with purpose. Excuse me, he said, his voice cutting through the chaos. I think everyone needs to hear something. Melissa's father stood up. And who the hell are you? Robert Morrison. I'm a lawyer, and I was a close friend of David and Catherine, Kyle and Sarah's parents. My heart stopped. I hadn't heard my parents' names spoken aloud in years. Robert pulled an envelope from his jacket pocket. I've been looking for you two for 5 years. Your parents left something behind, and I was named executor of their will. I've been trying to locate you, but you'd moved, changed numbers. Kyle's face went from pale to gray. What are you talking about? Your parents had a life insurance policy. A substantial one. It was meant to be split between both of you when Sarah turned 25 or when Kyle got married, whichever came first. The room erupted in whispers. How much? Someone asked. $350,000. To be split equally. I felt dizzy. That money could have changed everything. The jobs, the struggle, the years of exhaustion. Why didn't we know? I asked. Robert looked at me with something like pity. The paperwork was sent to your aunt's address 5 years ago. It required both of your signatures to access the funds. Aunt Marie stood up, her face crumbling. I gave those papers to Kyle when he turned 18. He came to visit me, said he'd handle it, said he'd tell you about it, Sarah. Every eye in the room turned to Kyle. Kyle? My voice broke. You knew? You knew about this money? He wouldn't look at me. His hands were shaking. I was going to tell you. When? I screamed into the microphone. When were you going to tell me? While I was working 3 jobs? While I was eating ramen? While I was sacrificing everything? Melissa grabbed his arm. Kyle, what is he talking about? Robert's expression hardened. Young man, did you access those funds without your sister's knowledge? The silence stretched like a blade. Answer him, Patricia demanded, her social mask cracking. Kyle's voice came out strangled. I needed it for school. For living expenses. For life. I was going to pay Sarah back. I swear, you stole from me. The words fell out of my mouth like stones. You stole my half of our parents' insurance money? Money they left for both of us. While I worked myself to death to support you. Emma was crying at her table. Sophie's mother had her hand over her mouth. Even the catering staff had stopped moving. How much is left? Robert asked coldly. Kyle's face told me everything before he spoke. Most of it's gone. Most of it? I felt like I was drowning. That was $175,000 that belonged to me. I spent it on tuition and rent and, he gestured around helplessly, and the wedding. Melissa's face transformed from defensive to horrified. You told me your trust fund paid for the wedding. I lied. This wedding cost $90,000, Kyle. She shrieked. You spent your dead parents' money, her money, on my wedding? Robert pulled out another document. There's more. Your parents' will specifically stated that if either of you attempted to access the funds without the other's knowledge or consent, the remaining money would go entirely to the wronged party, plus penalties and interest. He looked at me. Sarah, you're entitled to everything that's left, plus 50% penalties. That comes to about $63,000. Melissa turned on Kyle like a viper. You let me plan a $90,000 wedding with stolen money while your sister worked herself into the ground? I was going to fix it. Fix it? She ripped off her veil. Do you know what you've done? My father's business partners are here. Our families are here. Everyone just watched you get exposed as a thief. Patricia stood up, her face twisted with disgust. We paid for the honeymoon, the rehearsal dinner, your suit. We thought you were contributing equally. You told us you had money. He does have money, I said quietly into the microphone. Mine. Kyle finally looked at me. Really looked at me. His eyes were red, desperate. Sarah, please. I'm sorry. I was young, I was stupid, I thought I could make it work. You watched me suffer, I said. Every single day you watched me struggle and you said nothing. You let me loan you more money for Melissa's ring while you had thousands sitting in an account that should have been half mine anyway. Rachel suddenly stood up from my seat. This is insane. Kyle, we dated for 3 years and you told me you were broke. Was that a lie too? Rachel, not now, Melissa snapped. No, I want to know. Rachel's voice was shrill. Because he borrowed $5,000 from me senior year and never paid it back either. The room exploded with murmurs. I watched my brother's entire life unravel in real time. Robert handed me the legal documents. Sarah, these need your signature. The money will be transferred to your account within 72 hours. There's also the matter of pressing charges for fraud and theft. Charges? Kyle's voice cracked. Sarah, you wouldn't I? The microphone screeched with feedback. You stole from me, Kyle. You lied to me for years. You let your fiancé humiliate me at your wedding, a wedding paid for with my inheritance. I looked at Melissa. And you. You treated me like garbage because you thought I was just some poor girl who didn't matter. But I'm the reason your husband can read and write. I'm the reason he graduated high school. I'm the reason he's standing here at all. Sophie appeared at my side suddenly, tugging my dress. Are you going to be okay? Her innocence broke something in me. I knelt down, handed the microphone to Robert, and hugged her. I stood back up and took the microphone one last time. The entire reception hall was frozen. Guests halfway out of their seats, photographers with cameras lowered. Even the DJ stood motionless. I came here tonight believing in family, I said softly. I came here ready to celebrate my little brother starting his life. I wrote a beautiful speech about love and loyalty and the bond we shared. I pulled out the original speech from my purse and held it up. This speech talked about teaching Kyle to ride a bike, about staying up all night when he had pneumonia, about holding him while he cried for our parents, about being so proud when he graduated that I cried for 3 days straight. Tears were streaming down my face now, but my voice stayed steady. But none of that mattered to him. I was just a piggy bank, a convenience, someone to use up and throw away when someone shinier came along. Kyle was sobbing openly now. Sarah, I love you. You're my sister. Please don't do this. Do what? Tell the truth? Isn't that what you're supposed to do at weddings? Speak now or forever hold your peace. I turned to Robert. I want every penny I'm owed, and yes, I want to explore legal options for the money he stole. Melissa let out a strangled sound. This wedding is over? Everyone out! No, Patricia's voice was ice. This wedding was a fraud. Built on lies and stolen money. Melissa, get your things. We're leaving. Mother? Now! I watched Melissa's perfect day disintegrate. Part of me felt guilty, but a larger part, the part that had been invisible, dismissed, and humiliated, felt something else entirely. Justice. Emma rushed the stage and hugged me. You're staying at my place tonight. We're getting wine, ice cream, and we're burning that bridesmaid dress. Robert handed me his card. Call me tomorrow. We'll handle everything. And Sarah? Your parents would be incredibly proud of the woman you became. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. Those words broke me in a way nothing else had. I walked off the stage to scattered applause. Some people were clapping, actually clapping. Aunt Marie grabbed me into a hug, whispering apologies through tears. Sophie's mother pressed a napkin with her number into my hand. If you need anything, anything at all. As I headed toward the exit, I passed the family table one last time. My name card was still there, discarded on the floor where Rachel had dropped it. I picked it up and put it in my purse. Evidence of everything. 3 months later, I'm sitting in my new apartment, paid for with the settlement money. It's small, but it's mine. Actually mine. No roommates, no Kyle, no ghosts of sacrifice. The legal case was straightforward. Kyle had to pay back every cent he stole, plus penalties. Robert was ruthless and brilliant. Melissa filed for annulment 2 weeks after the wedding, claiming fraud. Her family's lawyers made sure Kyle's name was mud in their social circles. He tried calling me 47 times in the first month. I blocked him after message number 30 when he left a voicemail saying, "You destroyed my life over money." Over money. As if that's what this was about. Emma helped me enroll in community college. I start next semester. Art history, something I'd dreamed about when I was 16 but buried under responsibility. I'm 24, starting over, and somehow that feels like victory. Sophie sends me drawings every week. Her mother, Claire, became an unexpected friend. She told me that Melissa had bullied her throughout the wedding planning, demanding she lose weight to fit the bridesmaid aesthetic. We get coffee now, laugh about dodging that bullet. Yesterday, Aunt Marie forwarded me an email. Kyle and Melissa apparently tried reconciling. It lasted 3 days before she found out he'd been talking to Rachel again. Some people never learn. Robert called this morning. There's one more thing your parents left. A letter. It was sealed, only to be opened after the insurance matter was resolved. My hand shook as I read it. My mom's handwriting. "Sarah, if you're reading this, something happened to us. We know you'll take care of Kyle. That's who you are. But sweetheart, don't forget to take care of yourself too. You deserve your own life, your own dreams. Don't let sacrifice become your identity. We love you. Be free." I cried for an hour, but they were different tears this time. Tonight, I'm meeting Emma and Claire for dinner. Tomorrow, I have orientation at school. Next week, I'm getting a tattoo, a small bird on my wrist. Something about flying. My phone buzzes. Unknown number. The message reads, "Sarah, it's Kyle. I know you blocked me. I just want you to know I'm in therapy. Learning about accountability. I don't expect forgiveness. I just needed you to know I finally understand what I did. You deserved better. You deserved everything." I stare at the message for a long time. Part of me wants to respond. Part of me wants to keep that door closed forever. Instead, I delete it and put my phone away. Some endings aren't about forgiveness or reconciliation. Some endings are just about walking away and finally putting yourself first. I pick up my parents' letter one more time, trace my mother's words with my finger. Be free, so I will.